of the show this morning. And the topic we are going to be exploring is nourishing the world, the critical role of water in food security. Okay, we are looking at this topic this morning because today is the 2023 World Food Day. And the theme for this year's celebration is water is life, water is food, leave no one behind. That is the theme of the celebration this year. And with us in the studio this morning to help us dissect this particular topic and talk about this day, which is being commemorated annually, we have Dr. Ngozi Okoye. She is a registered dietitian and also a nutritionist. Glad to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning.
All right. Quickly, let's start with the day, the commemoration of World Food Day. Let's start with the significance of this day and also the theme, just like we mentioned. Why is it important that we choose this particular theme in this year, 2023?
Thank you. Good morning, viewers. Usually, 16th day of October, usually celebrated annually by the Food and Agriculture Organization. They usually bring out one topic. And this year they now brought out a topic as water is life, water is food, and nobody should be left behind. Let us look at water first before we proceed. What is water? As the definition goes, water is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless liquid. And water is very important to life. If there is no water, there will be no life, there will not be any food. So water is very important. And when you look at water, water is very important. It plays a vital role in the life of all the living organisms, both plants, both human beings. He said that body is made up of about 50% of water, while the earth's surface is made up about 71%. And out of this earth's surface, 71%, only 2.5 is fresh water. So you now see that we need water badly for us to grow. And it says that if one can live without food for some days, but one cannot live without water for some days.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that, laying that emphasis on the importance of water when it comes to food, because even if you have the food, you cannot cook it without water. And then after eating,
if you don't
drink water, you will choke to death and all that. So we cannot overemphasize the importance of water when it comes to our food production and in fact our everyday activities, because if you don't even bathe, you will be smelling and all that. So, but basically we are talking about food security. Now, we want to talk about some of the challenges of water scarcity in agriculture and food production also.
Thank you.
As a nutritionist and a dietitian.
Yes, because you know that FAO, their major concern is food security. And this the now brought up, water is food and water is life. So if there is no water, the food will not be there. Because in agriculture, water plays an important role. That is why you see that if the water has to be there, even if in the seas, maybe like here in Nigeria, we have some seasons. We have rainy season and the dry season. And during dry season, you hardly get water. The rain doesn't rain. It doesn't rain during that period. So you cannot do something like irrigation. When you look at these women, that the vendors marketing these vegetables, you see that most of them go to the riverside to plant vegetables. They will now do sort of irrigation so that water goes into their farm to help make the crops to grow. Then in your home, if you have something like maybe you can have your home gardening and pour water on those things during dry season mostly. So if the water is there, it helps these things to grow. But if the water is not there, it can never help them to grow.
Okay, now we're talking about maybe our little gardens at home.
So a little garden, some garden in
yes,
at home.
Okay. But what about people that are into commercial kind of farming? How do they go about it?
That was what I said, like during dry season, you know, you hardly get water because it doesn't trend that period. So that made people call it mbamiri or whatever. You said these women, During the time, there is a period that when you see them gathering like pumpkin fruits and all what, that's ogo.
Ogo.
During that, I go to the riverside and bank of the river and grow this thing, cultivate land. When they cultivate, they plant these things. So in a way, they try to irrigate so that water gets into this farm. That is why you now see during dry season, you still have some vegetables. As if to say that it's during the rainy season. Okay. But it will not be in abundance as it will be during the rainy season because everybody has to plant that time.
And that's why it's quite expensive.
That's why it's quite expensive during that period. But only few people get it.
Okay. Now, do you think that there are other innovations that need to be made to see that we don't lack water, especially when it comes to our agricultural produce? You know, I'm talking about the government and also stakeholders in the agricultural sector.
Yeah, the government can step in here. Government can now maybe come to some place, they build borehole several places to help the farmers. They can also maybe in this river, they find a way to irrigate so that the channel water that those farmers will be able to see that the water is all year round, so that this water, even during the dry season, help to irrigate their farms and the crops will also grow. So government should come in to help the farmers. We can't just fold our hand during the dry season. Because if we fold our hand during the dry season, definitely somebody there will food scarcity. Unless there is a way that during this dry season, government will now, during the rainy season, they get these things and try to save them. So that during the dry season, the food will still be in abundance during the season, so the food will continue to circulate. That people will not suffer during dry season.
Okay, now we are talking about gender equality. We want to have the same opportunity like the male folks, the female folks and male folks. Now my question is, how does gender equality relate to water access and food security? Okay, yeah.
It's only women that mostly concentrate in farming.
Are you saying that men are not,
men do,
are not farmers?
No, I'm not saying that men do not farm. But only women concentrate most in farming. I'm not saying that men do not farm. But you see, consider it now. During farming period, who are the most people that go to the farm? Men, they have their area of their concentration, maybe cultivating yam and all whatnot. But the women can go there and cultivate potato, vegetables, and every other thing. So that's why
it seems we are just focusing on like what we plant, what we cultivate, tilling of the ground. What about rearing of animals? Because they are part of agriculture too. Yes. Okay. And water is also important in that area.
Water is also important in that way. But that goes back to what I said earlier on. If there's a way one can build borehole in his place, like those of them, because I know some men, like in agriculture, those of them doing fish, what do you call it?
Fish farming.
Fish farming. They have ponds. Most of them have ponds, and most of them build this borehole, and they have reservoir that they now use it to feed their, what do you call it, their fish during that time. Even those of them that are rearing poultry, they also use to feed their poultry and all whatnot.
Okay, so all in all, water is very important because I can imagine when you enter a farm or a poultry and you don't have water to clean, because most time you need to bring out the animals or whatever it is you are rearing, bring them out and maybe clean the place, use water to clean. So if you don't do that, because if I go to the market to buy, let's say I want to buy chicken, live chicken, first, I will look at the body of the chicken to see how clean it is. You see some of them, they are so dirty, and you wonder the kind of environment and how they took care of all these things. So at the end of the day, it's still important for us to, have this, just like you say, sink boreholes in some of these our farms. It will go a long way to help us. Okay, let's also look at how we can empower the women, especially just like you mentioned, that there are people that are so passionate when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to cultivating, especially vegetables and all we eat. So how do we empower women in managing water resources for food production?
In that aspect, the government has to come in. The government has to help out, build borehole, taps, so that this will be easily accessible for the women to go and fetch water. If there's any other way government can help it, they can come in. Then if these men, there are streams, and maybe the streams are closed up, they can go and send some people to go and clean the stream, because there's a way they clean it, like in my village, those streams that maybe the weeds have come to cover up the stream. And if you allow it to stay there, the waste will now, what they do, it now make the water not to be useful again.
Okay.
So the government has to either send, or the people in the community have to organize themselves to clear off those, so that that water will still be useful for them when they go. They're easily accessible for the people when they go. They can either fetch it. Maybe they have some farms in their house or homes that are not able. Maybe the water in the home is not enough. They can, maybe when they fetch, they use it to spread upon on the farms there.
Okay. But what about people? I mean, we are. It seems like we are leaving all the work for the government. I know you've mentioned the villagers and probably the community leaders bringing themselves together and see how they can help. But what about other people that are passionate when it comes to agriculture? Like, we have stakeholders in the agricultural sector. Is there no way they can come in, to help us with this particular problem?
They can come in and help now, just as the government is doing.
Okay. And then again, when it comes to forming some of these women that are into agriculture, we have people that form cooperative and they help themselves. Now, there are farms that are located in so many places that, or something like that, water, especially during dry season, you don't have means of, watering all those places because miliarezo. Now, at that point, how can these women come together as cooperative farmers, come together and help themselves to see na all year round?
If that is maybe the one that is far away from them,
yes.
And as meaning there's no stream or river close to them, they as a group, like cooperative women, maybe they'll just find a way, get this tanker.
Okay.
Tanker. The tanker can maybe, when they contribute some amount, when they contribute maybe twice a week or 3 times a week, this tanker can go there and water those crops, because the distance is far and there is no river or there's no accessible water close to wherever they farmed. So the tanker can now get this water and go to that place and water those crops. It also helps them to achieve whatever they want to achieve.
That's another another good one, another good contribution, that these people can actually, come together, put money together, and employ the services of tankers, because we are talking about having food security. Okay, we're still here talking about nourishing the world. It's a critical role of water in food production, because we know that water is life. Without water, we cannot grow anything. Vegetables, seedlings, we cannot grow anything. Even if we grow them with the one we have, what about cooking it? What about cooking the food? After cooking the food, if you still don't have water, after eating, you choke to death and all that. So it's all encompassing. Water is very, very important. And we've been talking about the role of government, the role of community, individuals, to see that we have water in quantum, and also it will help us to ensure food security. Now, again, let's look at what the international community can do for us. Now, I'm talking about how international cooperation and partnership can contribute to achieving this goal. You know that part of the theme is saying, leave no one behind. Yes. So what's the role of the international community in this particular cause we are fighting, rather?
I believe that one of their roles is, should I go on?
Yes, go ahead. One
of their roles should be that if there is a way, those people, we started some examples like the stakeholders, the cooperative women, even the government. If they can bring in, because I know such things are done, if there's a way they can bring in this international organization like the FAO, and tell them, please, we are lacking water. And if there's a way they can help them, they can give them some locations that are very much in need of this water. They can go there and site. Either they build borehole or anywhere they can do it, so that those people around that place will easily get water, so that they utilize the water the way they want to use it.
Okay. So far, I know that there has been a lot of collaboration because you keep mentioning FAO. Yeah, there's been a lot of collaboration with international community and also other people that are passionate about agriculture and seeing that we have this water in quantity. Now, how successful have we had these collaborations in Nigeria to address this issue of water and also food security?
I know, like UNED, there are somewhere they build these things. There are some villages they build these tanks that women or people of that area can go and fetch water. Because there are some places that are seriously in need of this water. But where there are some places that are not seriously in need of water, that they can easily get, that's what I mean, that they easily access water.
Okay.
But those areas that do not easily access water, they build certain things like that. When you move around, you see this, that most people you go at that place and collect water. There are some areas they build such things. So they can now go and collect water. Yeah, people of the community can go there and fetch water and go to there. Even some individuals, those people that are kind enough, they can build these things and allow people to go there and fetch water. Those of them that are not able to, maybe bore in their compound, they can go there and fetch water. Then it's down the international organization. Once you tell them, they come and help you out. Okay. It cannot be done individually, but government can help to do this thing.
Okay, on the part of individual, just like you said, we've talked about digging of a borehole and all that. But on the part of individual, I know during rainy season we have a lot of rainwater and all that. Now, how can individuals, make maximum use of the rainwater that we have during rainy season? I mean, storing this water so that we can use it during the dry season.
During rainy season, some people have butter, some people have underground tank. I know that during rainy season, one does not lack water like that because it rains almost every day. So when they're now, those ones, they have reservoirs where they reserve this water. Probably maybe when it prolongs into dry season, they'll still be using it. Then because it rains daily, what they now do, those ones that are contained in the buckets or all these small rubber, they'll be using those and reserve these ones. But I know that most families now try to, even if they are not able to dig borehole, they have underground tanks where they have it as a reservoir. And people don't usually go there during dry season because you have excess to be using.
Yes.
So these ones can be reserved during dry season, so that during dry season people will now go there and be collecting water because it doesn't rain that period. So it's not that there are still maximum use of water during that period.
Okay. Also,
and apart from agriculture, water is used to do any domestic chores. Even in the industries, people use it to do everything apart from agriculture. Because it's saying that we're concentrating mostly on agriculture.
Because we are talking about food security. So we don't want to have food scarcity. So that's basically why we are talking about agriculture. And seeing to the fact that you are a dietitian, so it's all about food. And then that brings me to the other question I want to ask. Some of this water and some of this reservoir that we have in our different houses, most of them, some people, they don't even know that there are times that we need to wash it and all that. I'm talking about safe water. Now, the ones we use for agriculture, maybe farming and all that, you can use any water to water your plants. But what about when it comes to cooking and when it comes to drinking? And I know some of these people are in rural communities. They might not really know, what they need to do to purify this water. And this could be the only source of water to them. So how can the government step in an issue like this to make sure that these people have safe water that they can use to cook, that they can drink, and also use to bathe? Because most times when you bathe with water that is contaminated, you start having skin disease.
Government can't just go into somebody's house and tell what. The only thing the government has to do is to create an awareness. This is how you take care of your water. When the government educate people that those of them that have underground, and they have to see that they wash it daily. It's not government that should come to their household and wash that tank for them. When that education is given, the awareness is created, this is how you have to be keeping your water. Because I know some of them don't even cover their tanks. I now see mosquito going to breed there. I know when mosquito breed there, another thing that when this mosquito flies, that when it bites some, it causes malaria. And if any other thing goes in there to breed there, when somebody drinks the water, it might cause even diarrhea. So a blame what the government has to do is that create an awareness, educate them on the importance of having pure water to drink. Let the water be green, what do you call it, to be clean. They have covered the tank. Make sure that yearly you have to wash this tank. Even if it means during dry season, you have to wash it 3 times. It depends on them. But make sure that the water you get from this is clean. And they have to cover the tank or whatever so that nothing bad enters into the tank.
You know why I asked the question? Because I remember when we were growing up, they would tell you that if you get the water and you feel the water is not clean enough, you add alum, and then we still, now I've started hearing about chloride and all that. But you know, most of these people, they might just bring it and add a full bucket or full paint bucket of chloride inside the water. So talking about awareness, yeah, that's the you know, the right thing to do. But then knowing the quantity and how to go about it, most people can go to the market and they will sell fake items to them, telling them that this is chloride, this is it, and they will use it and it will cause another problem to them.
That was why I mentioned this. It still boils on education. Even if you are going to use water guard, because most people are not literate to know the quantity of water guard to use. Because when you get that water guard, on the label there, instruction is written on how to use the amount to use. Like they will not tell you 25 gallons of water, you now add a tablespoon of that water guard. Okay. Most people are not literate, so most people are not may not even understand how to use, even to use alone. And when you add excess alone, it makes the water to be hard. It will not be hard. It will not be good for consumption.
Okay. Do you think that this issue of water scarcity, or you know, using water to enhance or make our food, make us have enough food in our, you know?
Let me get your question.
I said, do you think that this issue that we are discussing now, I mean, making water available for all, both the people in the urban area and the people in the rural community, that it's something that has gained, you know, strength in discussion in government forums?
I think because one that, let me get your question.
Now, what's the role of the government and policymakers should play in addressing this issue? That I'm asking about this water issue. Do you think that it has gained much strength when the policymakers in the government, they gather together to talk? They gather to talk about education. They gather to talk about health. Now, do you think that this has gained that strength when people gather, especially the policymakers, the top government functionaries gather to talk about issues affecting the citizens?
It has now, because when they come, like you remember the topic of this year, water is life, water is food. And if there is no water, there will not be any food. And if the water is not enough, it can expose people to infections.
Yes.
It exposes people to infections. So government has to step in, gather them, tell the importance of water. This is what water, if there is not enough water, one, there will not be much food. One won't be exposed to either diarrhea or even gastroenteritis. One can be exposed to any other diseases, which can lead to some people's death. And even if this water, like when we talk about the water, maybe let us look at the all this flooding we are having now. Because one of the reasons that we are having flooding, like last time, it was on the air that people living at the riverine area should get themselves against flooding, because what do you call the Cameroonian, they want to open up their destiny again. And when you have these floods, it goes into the ocean or the river to kill all these aquatic animals we have. And when this flood comes, it helps to destabilize the people living around that area. Because, you know, in the aquatic, some of them are dangerous to life. It now goes into this and displaces these people. Maybe all their properties will be destroyed. So what the government has to do now, create this awareness, let people understand. Even this flooding, because when the flood comes into the ocean, it destroys all the, and when you eat this thing, the aquatic animal, those that are consumable, it goes to maybe any of them that is poisonous. When somebody eats it, it can now kill this person.
Okay.
So government should continue to educate the importance of water and how to safeguard this water so that water does not destroy or kill or poison all these what do you call it, all these aquatic animals or whatever in the earth surface or within the earth.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that particular, point you raised now, talking about the aquatic animals in the water. Most times there are things that we do on individually that, hampers the life of them. We pour make acidic things inside the streams, the rivers we have in our villages. And at the end of the day, those things die and then our water gets contaminated. Sometimes you see people bathing in the same water that they still fetch to cook and drink, and then washing some things there. And all this water that doesn't flow very well, all those things will still gather in the same place. And at the end of the day, we still take from this water, take them home, cook, eat, and that's how we get all those diseases that you mentioned. Okay, we'll still continue with our discussion right here in the studio this morning, but we are going to take a short break because there are some people that we actually, interviewed on the street, and this is what they have to say concerning the topic that we are discussing today, that is the critical role of water in food security. Let's hear them.
It helps in food digestion. Water is very, very important in agriculture because without water, no plant will grow and the crops will not do better.
When you talk about food, you are talking about the food produced by plants. And plant needs water to carry out photosynthesis. And when plant lack this water, that means productivity by plants will decrease. Invariably, food security. You will start having low yield of crops. And that eventually leads to scarcity of food, causing food to be expensive in the market. When the water is in excess due to flooding, the crops are washed away and destroyed. The issue of food scarcity, food security will crop up again.
Water is very, very important. We all know that without water, human existence seems to be meaningless because we know that the life of human being depends on water. Likewise, the food and the plants need water also to survive. So if there is enough water, you see that the plants will grow very well, and when it grows very well, you now see that it will now bring out positive things for people to enjoy. But without enough water in the environment, you now see it will affect the plant. So I think water is very, very important when it comes to agriculture.
It helps our crops. When you talk about the agricultural aspect of it, it helps in food production, helps our crops to grow well.
Water is a major component of most of the things we see. Even the universe is also composed of water. Water is coterminous, is synonymous with food security. You can't talk about agricultural science without water.
The show is still Good Morning Anambra, and we've heard and listened to what the people we interviewed out there have to say about the importance of water. And we've been talking about it here in the studio because the importance of water cannot be overemphasized. We need water to grow our crops. We need water to even prepare our food. In fact, everything we do, at one stage or the other in our life, we need water. So it is very important, and that is why we are talking about it. And we've mentioned some of the ways that the government can step in, and even the policymakers, stakeholders in the agricultural sector can step in and see that we have water in abundance. Because when we don't have water, it will affect our food production, and we wouldn't want ourselves to go hungry. That's why we are talking about ensuring food security. Now, having said that, or having seen what these people are saying, I want us to talk about the key challenges and opportunities in ensuring that water is used sustainably in food production in the future. Because when we are talking about now, we are talking about the future too.
Thank you. So, for us to sustain water, I just said that water is life, water is food. The government has to step in because it can't just be done individually alone. In spite of the individual can also do their own, government has to step in, the stakeholders in agriculture have to step in. Then let us start from talking about individual. Individual has to see that those of them that rearing farms, maybe all these domestic animals, try as much as they can to have all these tanks. But if anybody is able to sing borehole, better. If the person is affluent enough to sing. But if the person is not, let the person have this borehole to have at least be catching this water when the time, maybe during the time of rainy season. Then government also has to help to say that they centralize all these borehole everywhere so that it can be easily accessible to people. So people will not be finding it difficult to fetch water. Then during what you call dry season, we encourage that there should be home gardenings. And these home gardenings, how do you do it? To make sure that there is food security, it is with the head of the water, as when the person has underground tank, the person can be using it to be do what? To be watering the crops. I see that probably all year round you'll be having mostly maybe vegetables. I not see some women that maybe when they go to this bank, what do you call it? The bank of the rivers or stream, you see them planting. That is why you have all these mbamiri vegetable during dry season. That is what they call it. See how vegetable during that period. So we are encouraging that. Let us have this water within us, because during dry season, if the water is not available, the crops cannot grow. Even with the little water you have in your tank, you keep watering this thing, it might still affect the growth. The yield of the crop will not be perfect as it would have been if it is during the rainy season. So it will be encouraged that one has to have all these reservoirs at home, so that during the dry season itself, the person individually.
All right. It's quite, you know, glad, we are actually glad that this discussion of water, you know, making it available for everybody is gaining center stage in all discussion, both in the government forums or on our individual, you know, capabilities and capacities. But then again, we are talking about advocacy and awareness, you know. We've mentioned that quite a lot of time in the course of our discussion this morning. And then we are here again to, you know, create that awareness, tell people what they need to do. Because while we are waiting for the long-term solution to this, we need to step up with our own actions. And we talked about the individuals, what they need to do. Now, the question is, on the long run, how can these advocacy efforts influence policy changes in our areas, of course, to ensure that we have water in a large quantity?
Thank you. So one is this, that I've just mentioned that having tanks, and if you are concerned about agriculture, there should be irrigations. So that, yeah, there can be irrigation, because when you do this thing, there's a way they channel the pipe into the farms, so that water goes on, you supply the farms with water, so that the water will go and be, there will be water will be watering the crops during dry season. So there will be still yields of those crops, and this helps to maintain food security.
Okay. We are talking about food security, and just as we are about to round off the show, still what we need to do on ourselves on individual basis to ensure we can see all the pictures that that is being shown on our screen. You know, people are excited and about water, and see what the woman is doing. I think she's using
one of the irrigation methods.
Okay, the irrigation, and this one too. Okay. So we are also putting up this picture so that people can learn. This is the irrigation method too, so that people can learn. So how do you go about this irrigation method? What do you do?
It's not going to really be done individually.
Okay, not individually, the government, right?
Government, but if an individual is able to do it, the person can do it. Just the last picture you brought out,
yes,
that one.
Okay.
So maybe this person did this, maybe the person sank borehole in his farm. So when the person stand borehole in his farm, maybe you now use rubber hose to put there, so the water will now be spreading. So if the person has the money to do it, he can or she can. But wherever the person is not, government can do it for them. They will irrigate the farms, and the crops will be getting the quantity of water it needs to grow.
okay, or well-meaning Nigerians, people that have the capabilities to do that for you, if you don't have the resources to do that, because it's cost-effective. So
That is it.
some people cannot actually afford it, but that's why we still talk about the cooperatives
Government, that
and
was,
also
yeah,
government
that
coming
was
in.
why I
Yes.
say if individual is able, but whereby individual is not able, government can assist.
Okay, now, you know, we are talking to a whole lot of people listening to us. We have viewers, we have people that have been following up our program since we started talking about this water. And I know some of them they have learned one or two in our discussion this morning. Now, the question is, how then can we all get involved? We've talked about it, but we are ending with it, how we can get involved to make a very big difference in supporting this cause of ensuring that we have enough water so that we can never run short of food.
Thank you. Just as the team said, don't leave anybody behind. Everybody should be involved to ensure that the water is there. I've just said earlier on, try as much as we can to have reservoir in your homes, so that you collect this water during the time the water is in abundance. For example, during the rainy season, they act as a reservoir, and this reservoir can still lead you to some extent during the dry season before the rain starts to come back, before rain comes back again. And when you have this water in the reservoirs, you utilize them moderately, because I wouldn't say to utilize them much as much you can, because if you use them in excess, the water will finish. Unless whereby the person has money, you can just get these tankers, they come and refill those what do you call reservoirs you've built in your home. Then one who has borehole, you have to be pumping your borehole, see that water is in circulation. This water is in circulation will also help you in any form of agriculture you are doing. The water will also help you in any domestic chores you are doing, in the say that the water runs all year round before the rainy season comes.
Okay. So in other words, as a country, as a state, as a community, we all need all hands to be on deck, that we ensure that we have water. Because now we are talking about future. We have some technologies that probably we need to employ to see that in the future, this will no longer be an issue. Yes, we are talking about what we are going to do now, thinking of boreholes, having our reservoirs and all that. But then what about the future? What do we need to do? I know that, change is what is constant in life. And there are technologies that could be employed in the future to say that, we have enough water. And that will not even be an issue. We use water not just for planting of our crops, we also use it for food processing. You mentioned earlier in industries, you use water every day. So all hands needs to be on deck. The policymakers, the government, individual, community leaders, captains of industries, all of us need to come together to see how we can ensure that we have enough water so that we also have food security in our country. Well, on that note, we want to say thank you to you, Dr. Ngozi, for being part of the show this morning. All right, that's where we are ending the show this morning. Nourishing the world, the critical role of water in food security. That is our topic today. And I want to say a very big thank you to you for joining us on this show. See you again tomorrow. My name is Chidinma Oranwa. Bye.